Hi, this is Todd with ESOTERIC Car Care. Today we're talking about removing protective film from Ferraris. Okay, if you've been following along in this series so far, we've talked about the ownership of Ferraris and buying one and some of the things that you need to look out for. We've talked a bit about expectations, working together with a customer, identifying issues with a car, and then figuring out a game plan. So we've gotten with our customer, we've talked about everything that we found on the car, and we've come up with a game plan that's going to be best for our customers' wants and needs and best for the car as well. So now the first thing we have to do, we're going to do paint correction on this and coating and reapply film. But before we start any of that, we have to remove the existing film. In the other videos, we talked a little bit about film, what we're looking for in good quality. We may have a car come in here that the film looks absolutely fantastic, and we tell the customer, let's just work on the areas that don't have film on it. This one, we determined we can do a little bit better, so we're going to pull it, polish everything underneath, and then reapply new film. So when we're looking at this, we're going to take a close look how the film was installed. We're also considering how old the vehicle is. We've got a relatively brand new vehicle here, very, very low miles on it, so we can make some assumptions with it. Now, if we're dealing with a little bit older car, let's say you come to us with a 355 or 360 Ferrari, then we have to take precautions because the good chances that there might have been a bumper repaint on it. And the reason why we do that is because when you're removing paint protection film, you have to be very careful on it. One, you don't want to leave a bunch of adhesive residue behind just because it creates a lot of unnecessary work. But two, if you've got repainted areas, you have the risk of removing paint or clear coat as you're removing the film on there. If that's the case, you have to have a whole area repainted. It's not quite as prevalent as you may think. If you're looking on F-Chat, a lot of people talk about it, and everybody is worried that it's going to happen anytime paint protection film is replaced. Not so much an issue with some of the newer cars that are coming out. The paint technologies are better now than what they were, let's say, 10 years ago. And you're not running as much of a risk of finding a car that's had the front bumper resprayed. But having said that, we've noticed it doesn't matter how expensive the new Ferrari is, we find blend marks. We find areas that were repainted at the factory. Those don't have to be documented anywhere. So it's not like you're going to go and buy the car and find Carfax on it that shows that an area has been resprayed. They don't have to document those type of things, but we know what to look for. We can see it. We see it happen all the time. So you still want to be careful, but you're less worried about it than if it were a little bit older car. And probably what we're going to do is we run into another Ferrari older that has to have some film removed on it. We'll do a separate video on that to kind of talk through that process a little bit more. But on this one, we've got the full front end that's covered in film. We've got the roof here. It's got the black vinyl wrap on it. We talked about the vinyl doesn't look real good. We want to peel that off. We're going to polish all the paint underneath it, and then we're going to put new vinyl on top of it. Then we're going to put paint protection film on top of the vinyl so it doesn't scratch as easy. And you might think, why are you going to go through all the effort of polishing out the paint if you're putting protective film or putting colored film on top of it? Well, let's say the customer down the road decides that he wants to get rid of the black roof. Peel that off, it's good paint underneath, simple cleanup, and it's ready to go. But if we don't polish it out and he decides to pull it off, then it just won't be matching because the rest of it will be polished. So we go ahead through the effort, make sure everything is corrected, the factory defects that we talked about in the early video, and anything else that might be on there. But paint protection film removal, we want to use a steamer to remove that. It helps loosen up the adhesive so it comes off a lot easier. So we're using steam to lighten that up, and also when we're peeling the film, we're pulling it back towards us, or actually away from the surface. That is safer on the paint, and it also prevents the adhesive from sticking to the surface. So we're going to be really delicate, really methodical. It is a lot of work to remove paint protection film. You can't just grab film and start ripping it off. You're going to leave a lot of adhesive that's going to be near impossible to remove, and you run more of a risk of damaging the paint. And it's usually a two-person job, one person working the steamer, the other person pulling the film. Very methodical when we do it. We want to be as safe as we possibly can. We don't want to cause any issues. Then on our next video, we're going to talk about the decontamination process. Once we have all the film off of it, making sure that we have any adhesive removed, any tar that we talked about on the car in the previous video, go through all that process to get it ready for paint protection film or paint correction, which will take us into the next video. So if you haven't watched already, we've got 3 videos before this. Make sure and go back and watch it, get yourself caught up, and then stay tuned for the next videos that we have coming up, because after we do paint protection film removal, we will go into decontamination. That's about all for today on this subject. Please stay tuned for the extra videos that we're going to have, and as always, we appreciate you watching. For Esoteric Car Care, I'm Todd Cooprider. Thanks. We'll see you again next time.